everyone. This is Dr. Vijayshree Patil of the Safety Net, and today we are here to talk about the all-important topic of the season, that is the COVID vaccine. Now, at the Safety Net, we've been talking about vaccines since literally we started. Our first video that we ever put out on our YouTube channel was on vaccines, their importance, how they work. In case you haven't seen that already, do check it out. It's up on our YouTube channel along with a lot of other informative videos on vaccines, including 2 podcasts with our virologist colleagues. Now, coming back to the vaccine of the season, which is the COVID vaccine. So many questions that you've written into us. We're going to try and answer all of them in our 2-part video series on the vaccine FAQs. Let's go. Now, the first question, of course, is which vaccines are available in our country? There are 2 vaccines as of now, both Indian made. The first one is Covishield, which is made by the Serum Institute of India in association with Oxford and AstraZeneca. The second vaccine is the Covaxin, which is made by Bharat Biotech. These are the 2 vaccines that are available currently, given by the government and private organizations. How do they work? Now, let's just recap to how vaccines work in general. Any vaccine has an organism which may be inactivated, which may be dead, or a part of that organism. This could be a virus or a bacteria or whatever disease we are trying to prevent. This is injected into your body. Now, when it's injected into your body recognizes it as foreign and starts producing an immune response against it to destroy it. This is usually in the form of antibodies. So, when you have a sufficient antibody response to destroy that infection, we say you are now vaccinated or immune to this illness. Different vaccines can require different doses. Now, polio, DPT, tetanus, measles, these are different vaccines that we give children in our routine vaccination program. They could require several doses, some 4, some 5, some even require booster doses, maybe 5 years later, like hepatitis B. Now, how do these 2 vaccines work? They have a slightly different mechanism from each other, just for comparison's sake. Covishield has a carrier virus. So there is an adenovirus which does not infect humans, it affects chimpanzees, that carries a part of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, and that is injected into your body. Now, it is not harmful because it's not live, it's just a part of it. On the other hand, Covaxin is an inactivated or dead virus. So that is injected into your body, which then produces the immune response. So they are slightly different in their mechanism of action. Now, both these vaccines require 2 doses about 6 to 8 weeks apart from each other. Why 2 doses? Again, because after the first dose, it will build up an immune response, but it might not be sufficient enough to fight off the infection, which is why we give you a second dose, so that the initial immune response is amplified. Now, both these doses have to be of the same vaccine, which means if you take Covishield first, you take Covishield the second time. If you take Covaxin the first time, you take Covaxin the second time. Don't confuse your body by giving them 2 different stimuli. Okay. So which vaccine is better? The answer to that is whichever vaccine is available to you. Us healthcare workers were the first people to receive the vaccine, and in fact in my hospital we did a study, so to speak, of people who received Covishield and people who received Covaxin, and we've both had similar antibody response. If you look at the data regarding efficacy, Covishield and Covaxin have nearly 76 to 78% similar efficacy in mild illnesses and 100% efficacy in preventing serious illness, which means that even after taking the vaccine, you could contract the virus, of course, but you'll get away with a mild illness. You'll definitely not have a major, severe, critical, I have to put you on a ventilator kind of illness. You'll get away with a mild illness. And that's pretty apparent in the profile of the cases that we are seeing in this second wave. It's essentially been the younger lot who haven't been vaccinated as compared to the first wave where most of our patients were above 60. So the next question most people ask us is, if I've taken the vaccine and I've built up this immune response, why am I getting the viral infection? Shouldn't I not get it? How is your vaccine effective then? Now, please understand, point number one is that a vaccine is not a cure. A vaccine is a preventive measure that is giving you the strength to fight off the infection. The primary problem is still the virus, and we don't have an actual cure for this virus. So, the vaccine is kind of like self-defense classes. Now, this is an example I keep giving people all the time. Little girls in schools across the country are being trained in self-defense because of the rising cases of violence against women. Does that mean that just because there's a girl who's, achieved a black belt or the highest form of mastery in her class, would you allow her to go out on the streets in the middle of the night in a place that is famous for sexual harassment? No, you wouldn't. And why not? Even though she knows how to defend herself, she'll probably fight off whoever comes across her and give them the thumping of a lifetime. But you'll still take your preventive measures, because the basic problem, just like the virus, the sick mentality of these perverted people has not really gone. It's not left society. That still exists. So we still need to protect ourselves from that, just like the virus. Even if you have taken the vaccine, you still need to take all your preventive measures, which inherently are masking or barriers in the form of face shields, hand hygiene, and social distancing. If the government has issued strict orders, restrictions on your movements or lockdowns, please follow them. Do not flout these norms. This is a very serious issue. Please take it seriously. So what are the side effects related to these two vaccines? Now, Covishield and Covaxin both are inherently safe vaccines, which means that there aren't very major life-threatening side effects that have been noted after taking either of these two vaccines. Mild side effects include soreness or pain at the site of injection in your arm, tiredness, fatigue, a mild fever with or without chills, and these are usually seen within the first 48 hours of taking the vaccine. Now, these are not technically side effects. This is essentially your body responding to the vaccine or your immune response kicking in. So these are expected within the first 48 to 72 hours of taking the vaccine, and they usually resolve by themselves. Or you could take a simple paracetamol tablet, which in fact is given out at most vaccination sites in case you are experiencing these symptoms and you can't tolerate them or you don't feel up to it. A lot of rest and hydration and just a simple paracetamol should be enough to resolve these symptoms. In case they are not resolving on their own or with these simple techniques, do seek medical attention immediately. Now coming to the elephant in the room. There were a lot of reports that came in from Europe in March this year that people injected with the AstraZeneca vaccine, or what we call the Covishield, ended up having life-threatening blood clots. So there was a review done in the UK to see whether there is an actual correlation between the vaccine and the blood clots, or is it just an incidental finding. The results of the review said that there is no correlation between the two, and the benefits of taking the vaccine, the preventive power of the vaccine, far outweighed actually the risk of these blood clots. Now, the incidence of these clots was found to be almost 4 in 1 million, which means the risk is 0.0004%, as opposed to the actual COVID infection, which also causes blood clots, and the risk there is almost 16 to 20%. So as you can see, the risk of not taking the vaccine and actually getting COVID would put you more in danger to getting the blood clots rather than the vaccine itself. And even the vaccine itself, there's no proven correlation yet between the blood clots and the vaccine. I do understand that all of us are worried and all of us are scared about the possible life-threatening effects of the vaccine, but do trust us, trust your doctors, trust the scientists who are putting out facts in front of you, rather than trusting WhatsApp forwards or news that is highlighting only the negative effects, because our mind tends to pick these up because we are scared. So if somebody gives us that information, we tend to remember that and tend to believe that. It's easier to believe. So trust your doctors, trust science. We ourselves have been injected by the Covishield vaccine. Most of us have. And we are safe and sound, and we are still your frontliners, not just to take the vaccine, but also to treat you. So have faith in science and do go and get vaccinated. I'll be explaining this phenomena of blood clots and AstraZeneca vaccine more in detail in the second video on vaccines. Another question that I get asked very often is that since we are in the midst of a second wave, a massive second wave, and COVID is literally everywhere. There are reports that it's an airborne infection now. Nobody knows what that is. And so should we get out of the house and go to the vaccination centers and take the vaccine? Is it safe? Like I said before, whether you haven't taken the vaccine, whether you've taken 1 dose or whether you've taken 2 doses, you have to take your safety measures. All of your safety measures have to be looked out for. At the vaccination centers, this is the reason why they are giving you time slots, so that they can manage the crowd and they can adequately socially distance depending on how big their center is and how much space they have. So please don't crowd at these centers. Please understand the difficulties they are also facing and try and be as compliant as you can with the rules that they are setting in each institute. Don't flock at centers and crowd and demand the vaccine. Everybody will get it. They will ensure that every citizen gets vaccinated. Please be patient. So when exactly can you say that you are immune to the virus? You will have developed a sufficient level of antibodies to fight off the virus about 2 to 4 weeks after your second dose. So until then, you need to be extremely careful. After you have antibodies, you still need to be careful because, like I mentioned before, you could still get the infection. It might be a mild one, but then what happens is, because you have a mild infection or an asymptomatic infection, you could end up spreading it to others who might not have the same level of immunity or who might not have been vaccinated. So please be careful. Please stay safe. The registration for the vaccinations is done on the Arogya Setu app or the Cowin app, online or through the phone apps. Please do so. I understand there have been quite a few glitches, but again, we have to understand that we are a lot of people, and yes, there could be a lot of technical glitches, but please keep at it. Ensure that you get your vaccines in time. Ensure that you get both doses and ensure that you maintain your safety precautions until you get them. This pandemic is not a disease of an individual. It's not something we can fight off by ourselves. It's not just hitting one of us, it's hitting all of us. And we have to do this collectively, as a community, as a society, as a nation, as a human race. So it is your responsibility to get vaccinated, and you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing it for all of us. So I urge each and every one of you to please get your vaccines in time and help us get out of this pandemic mess as soon as we can. Until our next video, part 2 on vaccines, more questions that you have sent in. Do stay safe and do stay healthy.